Hey, working mama, are you secretly scared to ask for a raise, worried it'll damage your reputation, or get you labeled difficult? In this episode, negotiation expert Dorothy Mashburn reveals how to rewrite that fear and ask for what you deserve with calm, clarity, and confidence. If you're tired of being overworked and underpaid, this one's for you. Hey mama, welcome to Career Growth for Working Moms. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fit or burning out trying to do it all, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, a career coach and fellow working mom. Here, you'll get simple career strategies and strength-based leadership tips to help you grow with clarity and confidence. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's do this. Hello and welcome. I'm thrilled to have Dorothy Mashburn with me today. Dorothy is a negotiation strategist and former executive hiring manager who's led over 500 successful deals and reviewed hundreds of top-level candidates. She's on a mission to help women break free from silence, self-sabotage, and low offers by teaching negotiation, executive presence, and confidence-building strategies that actually move careers forward. Her work centers on closing the gender pay gap and helping women show up at the table with clarity, presence, and power. And today, she's sharing exactly how to do that. Dorothy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
So thrilled to be here, Shannon.
So, you've been behind the curtain being at the executive level. So, from your perspective, why are women still being underpaid and what can they do about this?
Yeah, it's a big question. It's there are a couple of different reasons. One is we are still behind the eight ball. So a lot of women initially didn't ask, and so they didn't get paid, right? So that was something new for us to say, hey, I want to raise my hand and I want to get what I'm worth. And then the second bit is that now the research is showing that women are asking, but they're getting denied more. It's part of it is gender norms, like what do we expect men to behave like and women to behave like, and part of it is the way we are asking for it. And so that's why I'm so passionate about teaching the right way to ask and get that pay increase.
Yes. So, what is advice that you can give to them that on how to do it correctly, on how to ask for it correctly?
Yeah. The way to do it is really framing and positioning your impact in a way that the business recognizes. I'm working with a client right now. She went in and said, I've done all of this work. I've done, a list of things that she did last year, which is what a lot of the experts teach you. And then said, therefore, I deserve a raise. Therefore, I want a raise. Well, what is missing in that equation is a connect the dots to what the business cares about. So the businesses usually care about eight things, and I have a formula called recharge. So it's and we can put that in the show notes. But basically, it's revenue, it's cost, it's efficiencies, it's clients or customers, it's their workforce. So I did all of this and this helped revenue go up by this, or I did all this and this helped costs go up by this, and therefore. So connecting your impact to the business's priorities is what helps move the needle.
Is there a difference? Have you noticed a difference between asking for a raise versus going into a new job and setting that salary expectation up front? Is
Yeah, good question. There is a difference, and it is a little bit harder when you're internal because you don't have as much leverage because they already have you, right, in
right.
the role that you're in. However, there are still ways to find leverage or create leverage for yourself. When you go into a new job, they're basically competing for your talent. You may, or they may perceive that you have other options. They're not the only game in town. So they're a little bit more aggressive when they know that this is a candidate that they want in trying to get you into their company. Now, when you are asking for a raise, you can introduce some competition by showing that you are a desired candidate in another function. You could do that. Another way to do it is get a second offer from outside and create leverage like that. And again, it depends on the person and the situation, but so it's important to think about your options and then create that leverage accordingly.
Yes, I like that. I can totally tell the difference between those two. So, what advice do you give to these women that may be like fearful or, that because it is kind of scary to go in and say, hey, here's all of this information, connect the dots to what they want, but there is still a fear factor. What kind of mindset shifts or tips do you have for them?
Yeah. Yeah, typically the fear, there are only a few fears, right? So if you name your fear, like, are you afraid they're going to say no? Are you afraid they're going to say yes? Then what do you say? Like fear of success, fear of failure, fear
Right.
of judgment, right? So do you feel like they're going to say you're being too greedy, or is that the fear, or are you fear of damaging the relationship? So
Yeah.
if you first identify which is the fear that that's coming up most for you, then you can start creating a narrative that is more positive, right? If they say no, what am I going to do? So action obviously always gets rid of anxiety. So, so you can say, if they say no, good, that's a great, so as a negotiator, a no for me is a great thing because then I can problem solve. So you say, okay, if they say no, then I can ask why, or what can I do to change your mind, or what can I do for next year, etc. If your worry is that it's going to damage the relationship, think about your goods, the services that you provide as a business. Like, would you, when you go after the success of your business that you work for, would you fight tooth and nail for that? Right? And so
Right.
think about your own services as a business. And do you fight tooth and nail? How do you do that? So reframing that concept will really help you with your ask and your delivery.
I love that. And I love that you even say no when they said no, now you can problem solve. So can you
Yes.
speak more into that because I'm sure there are listeners that are saying, "Well, I've been denied, now what?" And how is
Yeah.
that actually a good thing to problem solve?
Yeah. Yeah. So, when I'm negotiating a big $1 billion deal, right? I'm not, I know for sure the first time we ask something, the answer is going to be no. So, no is actually a good thing to think about it in this way, because when they say no, then I can ask curiosity-based questions, right? So, what is the reason behind you saying no? Is it a budget constraint? Is it that you don't think I'm, ready for the promotion? So what is it, right? So any reasonable person will share, right? Like, budgets are tight. Let's say that's the answer. Then you ask, okay, how else can I get compensated? Like, maybe I want to get my MBA, right? So usually budgets in a corporation come from different buckets, your pay bucket and your developmental bucket. So it's like, will you pay for my MBA? Okay, then you start kind of going down that path and problem solve that way. Or if they say you're just not ready, then you can say, what do I need to show you to, portray that I'm ready, to reflect that I'm ready? And that kind of takes you down another path.
Right. And I would expect that with these being career moms, that I know that they're going in there going, well, I have to take sick days off for my kids and I want to go to school plays. So I'm sure that that impacts the even wanting to go ask for that raise or negotiation. Do you have any tips for them?
Yeah, so what we when we work together with my clients, we create a want portfolio. So your want portfolio is your basically what you want in your salary, what you want in the rest of the compensation package. So that could be sick leave, it could be daycare support, it could be gym membership, it could be any of those things that will make your life better. And so if when they say no, and again, I'm saying, notice I'm not saying if they say no, when they say no to one thing, you can use kind of these other areas that will make your life better and are very important to you, right? And then you can kind of trade for those things that will actually help you.
I like that. I like that. That's great advice. So, what are some other common salary negotiation myths that are holding women back, and what's the real truth behind them?
The biggest one I would say is the fear that it damages relationships, because we are very social people. And again, speaking generally, right? Very
Yeah.
social. And then we value relationships in the workplace. And so the fear is that if you ask, you're going to generally seem like you are being ungrateful for the job that you have, or you are seeming like you want more than they can afford. So the idea here is to not think about gratitude when it comes to your job. Now, when you are grateful at night or you're meditating, of course, you're grateful for a great job, you're grateful for your health. But when it comes to the job and your response to the employer, don't think about it in terms of gratitude. Think about it in terms of a business exchange. So you have something they want, they have something to compensate you with. And so you're exchanging those services for that money. That's a big one. Relationship is a big fear. The other one is fearing that no. So fear of that no word really holds people back. It's really not something you should fear. And the more you practice saying to yourself that I like the word no because it gives me opportunities to solve the problem with, then you're going to start feeling way more confident. And then the last thing is about negotiations is it's not kind of like how they show it in Hollywood. It's not like this high octane testosterone driven, action
Yeah.
oriented thing that it's unreachable. It's very possible to not have any of those kind of crazy drama and just have a conversation where you're solving a problem, mutual problem.
I love that. That's great advice. And I think I do agree that that's probably the most common myths because and I like the no. Like we just you already gave them some very good tangible things to do about the no. So no more fearing no. Go practice it and be thankful for it.
Exactly, exactly. Well said.
um so what I know we've talked about some confidence, but I what is the difference do you think between confidence and charisma? Especially for these women in
Ooh,
the workplace.
confidence and charisma. I don't know if it is different. I think it is more being comfortable in your own skin, right? If you are, if you don't fear, if you remove fear from the equation, you can show up with confidence, and as you have confidence the charisma follows, right? There's, I can't remember the name of the book. I'm gonna really I'm gonna drive myself charisma. It's called Charisma Myth, but I can't remember who wrote it. But it's a great book that shows that anyone can, or how anyone can master the art and science of personal magnetism by Olivia Fox. And it's a great book that sort of breaks down, if anyone is interested, kind of the elements that show as charisma to other people. And part of it is that confidence. And then confidence then is all about removing those fears, knowing your subject matter really well, practicing ahead of time. And then the more you practice, the easier your delivery is gonna get easy. And then the rest will follow.
I love that. So, Dorothy, where can our listeners connect with you online?
I'm at dorothymashburn.com. That's my website, and there are tons of free stuff there for your listeners to grab. The one I recommend highly is the LinkedIn checklist. A lot of people love it because it gets you started, and it's very easy to follow, and it's right there on the top of my website. And then I'm on LinkedIn, and then my podcast is Salary Negotiations Made Simple.
Nice. Great. Wonderful. So, before we wrap up today, I love leaving my listeners with an action step that they can take today. So, what is one belief you'd love to rewrite for every working mom who's afraid to ask for what she's worth?
Yeah. So one belief to me would be thinking about your services as a business. So how you phrase it, maybe you call it, say your name is Amanda. Amanda LLC is worth this much. So rethink your services not as something that you undervalue, but as something that you're proud of, you're promoting, it's your brand. And when you reframe yourself and your services in that way, your confidence will come. So I promise you that. So try that today.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Shannon. This is great.
Hey, Working Mama. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with a friend who's stuck in her career but doesn't want to sacrifice her family to grow? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It seriously lights me up to know this show is helping you navigate burnout, find clarity, and lead with confidence. All right. Time to shut down my laptop and pretend I'm not hiding from folding that laundry. I'll meet you back here soon for another episode of Career Growth for Working Moms. You've got this.